Hi everyone, this is Dr. Katie Woodley, the natural pet doctor. Tonight we're talking about food and immune support. So those are very closely tied together. And why is that? Food is the foundation for health. It's something I've been talking a lot about in our webinars and in our membership site. Food is so important. It is the basis for everything, for us, for our pets. We are what we eat. It's so true. So, what can you do to help improve your pet's immune system? I talk a lot about food and a balanced diet. Yes, a lot of pets are on a dry food-based diet, and that's not necessarily a problem. It isn't the best food that we can be feeding them, but there's a lot we can do to help boost the nutritional value of that dry food. First, I want to talk a little bit about grain-free kibble diets because there's good and there's also bad parts to that, where you want to make sure you're looking at the ingredient, the label on the back of the bag, so the pet food label on the back of the bag, and you want to look for pea protein, legumes, potatoes. You want to see if those are within the first 5 ingredients on that list. If they are, you have to remember, especially for cats are obligate carnivores. They need meat to thrive. They have to have meat, animal meat, to do well. Dogs are what we would technically call a functional carnivore. They can do okay with vegetable protein sources, but they do much better. They thrive on animal protein. And so a lot of these grain-free diets, what they're doing to reduce cost of production is they're adding a cheaper pea vegetable protein to bump up the protein content in the food. So that's something you need to be aware of because this is scary. One of the biggest things with grain-free diets, if there is a legume-based protein, if it's mainly a vegetarian diet, there's not a lot of protein, animal meat protein in it, is they're high in glyphosate. Glyphosate is Roundup. No one should be ingesting Roundup, that is us included, your pets especially. It's been indicated for brain tumors, all sorts of cancers, blood disorders. It does not help anyone to have Roundup in your system. And those grain-free kibble diets are highest in glyphosates. So turn the bag around, take a look at the pet food label, and make sure those ingredients aren't within that first 5 of the pet food that you're feeding. Now, to do better than those grain-free diets, or for some of those kibbles, if you're feeding something, you're like, oh my God, what do I do now? So you can rotate the diets also. So every 3 months, you're rotating those diets. There is a lot of dilated cardiomyopathy, so heart scares with certain foods. There's a lot of hype right now in the media. There's dogs that are coming down with heart failure that aren't predisposed to that type of heart failure. So we have to look at, there's a lot of factors that can go into that there's not enough time tonight to talk about that. So we'll save that for another night. But what can you do to increase the nutrient value for your pets? Because we're talking about immune system and how directly you can boost it for your pets so they don't get sick, they hopefully don't develop cancer or other autoimmune disease or chronic illnesses down the road. So add in your leafy greens, lightly steamed kales, add in your vegetables, your colored vegetables, so lightly steamed spinach. Your pumpkin is a great one for this time of year in North America. So it's a good seasonal vegetable. Add in zucchini. So you want to lightly steam these, broccoli, carrots, because you don't want to lose all of the antioxidants and the nutrients that are available in those vegetables. So add those into the food. If you're feeding a kibble, add those in at least 3 times a week. It will reduce the cancer risk for your pet by 90%, just 3 times a week with a kibble-based diet. That's incredible. That is huge. So start doing that. You also can add in other supplements. So medicinal mushrooms are great. They're really good for boosting the immune system. And there's a lot of great products out there. We're currently using RX Coriolis Forte right now with Finn, and it's a combination of a couple different medicinal mushrooms, and then it also has a few other supplements included in that. And we're using that specifically for Finn to help his immune system, but also to fight the brain tumor. But your pet doesn't have to have a disease in order for you to use these medicinal mushrooms. You can get them dried at the grocery store, rehydrate them in a stew, and add a small amount to your dog's food. Some cats will actually eat this too. And what we're doing is we're increasing, mushrooms have a lot of beta glucans in them, which are really good anti-inflammatories, anti-cancer, boost the immune system. They're really good for the body. And then these other supplements, by combining the different mushrooms, you're taking all of those additional benefits from each individual mushroom species, and you're combining them, and you're getting a synergistic effect for your pet's health. So look for the reishi mushroom, maitake mushrooms, shiitake, even button mushrooms are going to have additional benefits for your pets. So get some of those from the store. Get the ones that are dehydrated too, because those usually are a little bit cheaper, and cook them up in like a stew or just steam, with a little bit of good olive oil, lightly cook them, and then add them to your pet's food. And they usually love them. Now, keep in mind, too much of anything leads to bad things. So you don't want to do a lot of them, because sometimes you can see loose stool or an upset tummy. So for your, like a medium-sized dog, so I'd say like 35 pounds, you just want to add a couple mushrooms in. And so these are like sliced mushrooms. So I would just say start with like 1/8 of a cup. Add that in, see how your pet does. Obviously, if you see loose stool or their digestion is a bit off, reduce it and work based on what your pet does and how they feel. And you can also get the RX Vitamins has that great brand where they have the mushroom base that you can give to them based on their body weight. So that's another great thing. You also need to ensure that your pet is getting enough essential fatty acids. And so essential fatty acids, that's going to be your omega-3s and your omega-6s. Your omega-6s are, if your omega-6 is predominant in your food, you're going to actually lean towards more inflammation in the body. That's where your high carbohydrate-based dry foods are going to actually have more omega-6s in them. So by adding omega-3s, so we want a marine-based omega-3, obviously use sustainably farmed omega-3s or wild caught, something that's not going to be full of pesticides, chemicals, not depleting the ocean. So Nordic Naturals is a great brand that I recommend for pets. They have a dog, cat version. You can dose based on the back of the bottle. Those are going to bump up the omega-3s for your pets. They have a great anti-inflammatory effect, and it's going to reduce inflammation, but it also, so your pets who have kidney disease, other issues, heart disease, cancer patients, it's actually beneficial for their immune system and to help them fight that. So add in your omega-3s if you don't have that. If your pet food, so your dry food says it has omega-3s added, ignore it because it's cooked out of it by the high heat needed to extrude the kibble. So you can add in more omega-3s safely, but you need to use a good brand because a lot of omega-3s are actually rancid. And a lot of people use flaxseed oil, and pets have a really hard time converting that into a usable form in the body. So stick with your marine-based omega-3s. So just to sum it up, keep it nice and short for tonight, 3 things that you can do to boost your pet's immune system. Add in those lightly steamed vegetables, broccoli, carrots, kale if your pet's not prone to oxalate stones or crystals, and the vegetables that are good for us. Add those into the food at least 3 times a week. If you can, transition them to a whole-based balanced diet. There's a lot of good brands out there that you can use that are pre-made. So send me a message if you want some of those. I would love to help you out there. And then add in your omega-3s, reduce that omega-6, omega-3 ratio in favor of omega-3s. And then add in those mushrooms, the medicinal mushrooms, not the mushrooms that you get high off of. Of course, don't do that. But get them from the store, cook some up for yourself. They're great for us. They're great for our pets. They're going to help boost that immune system, keep them feeling good, and it adds a little bit variety to their food. So I hope that helped you guys. Send me your questions. Send me what content you'd love to hear me talk about next, and keep being healthy and have a great evening. Thanks.